The Nigeria Economic Summit Group, NESG, in partnership with Ford Foundation, conducted a thorough diagnostics analyzing the current state of Nigeria's solid mineral sector.
Nigeria boasts of over 40 solid minerals spread across 450 locations. This makes mining a viable tool to help diversify the economy and fast-track government's effort to pull 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years.
We're actually doing an open pit mining, where the coarse veins that are mineralized lights, maybe the mineralized amphibolites. So once we get deeper, we might see fresher, amphibolite, which is hosting the gold, and definitely it may require some blasting processes.
Mining and steel is a high potential revenue source. Small wonder, mineral resource-rich countries continue to record significant growth in foreign direct investment, physical revenues, and employment opportunities.
If you look at the structure of our mineralization, it's quite extensive. God has really been merciful to Nigerians. So I don't think that we are yet at a place where we will now say that our industry is now using our raw material for their production. That is critical. Until we are at that level, I think there's a gap, and that gap can easily be closed, even without even deploying a lot of resources. All we just need to do is to match-make miners with processors so that the value chain gap can be closed. That in itself will create a lot of bounce, a lot of opportunity, jobs, community development, and activity. You have insecurity where there is no activity. If you have activity, it secures the environment. So the gap that we see is a function of really leaving our economic space redundant.
Basically, we're into gold mining, and as you know, mining basically can add to the GDP and can improve the standard of living of the citizens. Mining is capable of taking Nigerians, if not up to 40% of Nigeria, out of poverty, and can improve, the standard of living and the economy. This can help, to diversify the economy and make it better.
Using the sector to diversify the economy, we are on the right track. We have investors coming in. There are a few foreign investors that are doing very well in Nigeria today. A Canadian company is mining gold successfully out of Osun State, and they're doing beautifully well. They've paid over ₦1 billion in royalty to Nigeria in just less than a year of operation. They started operation in October last year, started exporting gold, and by February this year, they have paid over ₦1 billion. We've never had it so good. No, there's an indigenous company quoted on the Nigeria Stock Exchange that is doing lead and zinc out of Nasarawa, and so on and so on. There are some Australian companies that are working very well there. British company just came in last year into Abuja here to do gold. They brought in $50 million investment. So definitely we are beginning to get results.
The mining industry has the potential to transform economies and also support industrial development. When managed properly, it can create the impacts are broader in terms of employment, in terms of direct support to the industrial sector by providing raw materials for industrial development, the support for rural development, because a lot of the minerals are scattered around the country in different localities. in rural, remote rural areas. So in terms of that, what I'd say the benefits that we could expect is employment and support for industrial development and rural development.
The growth of the mining industry is hampered by a host of factors, including poor infrastructure and investment, weak legal and regulatory framework, unsustainable government policies and initiatives.
First challenge is geoscience data. The government would say it's available to some extent. The industry would say that it's not sufficient and it's not as easily accessible as they would like it to. The critical issue to unlock their constraint is that the data should be available. It should be sufficiently detailed to support investment decision making by the private sector, and it should be easily accessible.
We have about 33 strategic minerals in this state in terms of occurrence, but you don't have bankable data to begin to say this is the reserve estimation of this particular mineral resource that we have. And these things are actually capital intensive. So the government can actually go in to make things easy for people, sponsor researches, support learning institutions and research institutions to go deeply into these things and, bring out bankable data that is enough to invite investors so that you'll be able to say, if you have gold in this place, for instance, how much of it do you have? Can it be mined at economy or not? So these are things we begin to do, and then we must enforce regulations, mining regulations. Some of these laws are in place, but in terms of execution and implementation is so very poor, and that's why we have a lot of foreign personnel coming into the country, do some sort of illegal mining, and they get away with it. So there should be actually very strict enforcement if we must begin to develop as a nation.
Nigeria must learn how to research. It's very, very important that we do this because it's a knowledge-based economy, but we must domicile our knowledge to factor our reality. And once we do this, we will start seeing a lot of value.
Mine is all about data, data, and data. And the only way we're going to attract people to bring their money is to de-risk the sector. President Muhammadu Buhari has taken the first step by giving us that $50 million. We need more. The more the sector is de-risked, the more foreign investors will come in. We have a few of them coming with what we've got, but there is a lot more to be explored in Nigeria. Nigeria has lithium, we have copper, and so many of these minerals of the future that we have in Nigeria. We need to do exploration. We have cobalt, we have coltan, even for production of fertilizer, we have. So these are some of the things that when we have money to do the exploration and we provide data, we can have big investors to come and develop the mine. Nigeria is creating a national data center, geodata center in Abuja here. Of course, all the data that we have, then the legacy data that was acquired by the British during colonization. We've contacted through the World Bank, the British Geological Survey. They are digitizing that, it's converting from analog to digital for us. All the data, the legacy data, plus all the data we have acquired since Nigeria has been doing it, we want to put all together and, of course, present that on a platform.
Illegal mining is rampant in host communities as perpetrators encroach into farmlands, rob locals of their livelihoods, and leave unmitigated environmental pollution in their wake.
My name is Grace. I dey stay here like 20 years. So we always farm. We are a farmer. Boys, girls, we farm. So through farm, we increase, we eat, we drink, we are not buying. So since these people have come, many things are reduced. Even the farm we are doing for here is reduced. Because the land we are using, they took the land, they are breaking stones. Since they take our land, we want, make them build school, make them build company. At least they will get what to do.
Illegal miners, where they don't stick to the ethics of mining, they open pits and they don't reclaim them. By reclamation, I mean covering them back. So once the pits are left open and abandoned, of course they pose a lot of dangers to animals and even men, in terms of providing comfortable breeding ground for mosquitoes, and other forms of disease can also spring up as a result of this.
Artisanal miners are like a necessary evil in every side. They're there. And while if you criminalize them and chase them away, you're going to take a lot of people out of employment. So what government has done in Nigeria, in this case, in its wisdom, is to accommodate them. But then, for them to do this work in a responsible manner. So, because you see, artisanal miners are here today, gone tomorrow. So they leave a lot of environmental disaster behind.
The area that is already licensed, and this what we call illegal miners, and organizing them becomes a bit difficult, but we're trying our best. Once you have illegal miners organized, you can organize them into groups, and they're called artisanal miners.
Artisanal mining is meant to be a controlled type of mining. But in most cases, what you even have is not artisanal mining, but scavenger mining, where people just come from different places, mine and go away like that. So I think the kind of illegal mining is enormous, and it has to be reduced. It has to be controlled. There has to be efforts to change to some kind of controlled, medium scale, even controlled artisanal scale mining, not this illegal scavenger mining. So it's different stages. Scavenger mining, legal mining is different from artisanal mining. We're not even having as much artisanal mining as we think in Nigeria, because artisanal mining itself is a method of mining for artisans, a low-scale one. But what we are having are just people who are uneducated, who are, in terms of mining, who are just looking for what they will eat and spoil the environment and leave it damaged and go. That's scavenger mining, and we have a lot of it.
So what we've done is that, through the World Bank supports project that we have in the ministry, we've acquired a remote sensing technology. This we have housed in the ministry here, where through satellite connection, we can look and then determine where these artisanal activities are. Once we recognize this with proper coordinates, from the satellite, we send out people from on the ground. They go there, to meet the people and talk to them. Look, yes, what you are doing is wrong. But you see, we can make this right. We can do it properly. So we're getting some good responses. What people will do is that, we'll now register such people. When they agree to come into the fold, we take their biometrics and all that. Of course, with all the incentives I mentioned earlier, we'll give them free training. How you can do that? We give them free implements, simple implements like wheelbarrow, shovel. We have a lot of women coming into artisanal mining, and in the process, they take their kids out of school into this mining. So bringing children into mining as well. That's one of the hazards of this artisanal mining. Why do they do that? Because your payment at the end of the day will depend on your productivity. Now, for a woman that is carrying a headpan, if she has 2 or 3 children who can also carry some bowls, production at the end of the day in terms of volume will be higher. But what we did, and we did some experiment and it worked in some 2 local governments in Kano, is if you replace this headpan with 1 wheelbarrow for the woman and shovel, she doesn't need all the children. The wheelbarrow is easy to put, and you have about 6 to 7 headpans in that wheelbarrow. So that eliminates about 3-4 children that he has brought back into that. So we give them such simple tools. Give them a wheelbarrow so the woman can operate on her own, fill the wheelbarrow and all that, and our productivity is increased. Our children go back to school and all that. And where we've done the experiment, we provided furniture for school and the enrollment went up. So these are some of the things we are doing with artisanal miners, bringing them into the fold. We'll register them. Such people that come in, you must form cooperatives. So we group them into cooperatives from a group of 10 to 20 and all that. So once they're in a cooperative, they also have access to that loan I mentioned. There's a fund that we have with the Bank of Industry. So you can access a loan from as low as 2 million naira. Even now, we've made even if you want 500,000 naira, we can give you, but to as high as 100 million naira, that's the max for 5%, 25%, 25 years. There's no way you can get such a fund in Nigeria. So this is bringing a lot of artisanal miners into the fold. To date, we've registered over 400 cooperative bodies like that who are artisanal miners, and of course, it's ongoing.
This will make significant positive impact on livelihoods through the impact of such compensations on their health and social well-being. And this begins with our next step on the journey towards exploiting the potential of mining for the nation's economic growth. To know more about the report, visit www.nesgroup.org/mining economy.